The Liberty, they fall at home to the Lynx and they lose ground in the race for the WNBA's top seed with Minnesota taking the season series. And Breanna Stewart still out. What does this mean for New York's playoff push? Let's bring in New York Post women's sports reporter Madeline Kenny, who joins me now from the Barclays Center. Maddie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, better than the Liberty
That's for
because
sure.
yeah, that's for sure. We're doing better than the Liberty right now, and they dropped a big one. We talked about this on Liberty lately last week that this game was going to be a big one. They dropped a big one here at the Barclays Center against the Minnesota Lynx, and now the gap at the top of the WNBA standings just got a little bit wider. So, what stood out to you the most about why Minnesota was able to control this game?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to what we've been talking about for a lot of this season, just a lack of urgency, a lack of effort at times, not paying attention to just executing the game plan or just having the attention of details. I mean, some of the turnovers have been an issue over the last 5 games. I think they're averaging about 16 per game over this stretch, and it's definitely concerning at this point of the season. I mean, I know that, they're down 3 players. Emma Mieseman, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt as I told you when we were off camera, because obviously they haven't had any practices with her yet, just integrating her in. But I mean, the fact that you were at home and Minnesota comes in, they play harder, they play more intentional, they're scrappier on defense. They're just playing with generally more effort in the second half. I mean, Natasha Cloud said post game that that second whatever after the third quarter, like in the third quarter, they just downshifted. And she can't tell you why. She doesn't know. If she knew, they wouldn't. But, that's just been like a reoccurring issue for this team. And so, yeah, I'm at the point where I think that it's okay to start saying that there's some level of concern with this team, whether or not they're going to be able to flip that switch once playoffs come around.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about this before we came on camera, right? I'm somebody who doesn't believe you can just flip the switch if you do not address the problems that have been going on, right? We've heard urgency and intensity and those words been used with this team. And then we look at today and you saw the Liberty struggle, right, as you just mentioned, to match the Lynx's physicality and defensive intensity, particularly in the second half. Do you think that this loss reveals a blueprint that other teams might try to copy against them as they move forward through the season?
Maybe in the sense that just of how Minnesota's guards were able to really be aggressive on the point of attack or disrupt some of the actions and blow some of the things up that the Liberty were trying to do, the way that they were able to get around some of those screens. And so I think, there were flaws that were shown today, but I don't think that that was anything that hasn't been seen at other points in other games. And so I don't know if blueprint's the right word, but I think it just shows that, when you get the Liberty on their heels and you have them, trying to match your physicality and match your aggressiveness. If they're trying to play up toward you, then you have the upper hand.
Be very interesting with them moving forward to see how they bounce back from this loss and how they try to bring that physicality and intensity back as they move forward. We'll get to that a little bit later, but Sabrina Ionescu, she had been in the MVP conversation lately, but Nafisa Collier's injury has shaped that discussion as well. So how does this game in particular we saw on Sunday impact Sabrina's case, especially going head to head with a Lynx team who was missing their star?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous that I might have cursed Sabrina because I wrote
Uh-oh.
about, her being a dark horse in the MVP race, and then, she kind of struggled the last 2 games.
Well, I'm blaming you, Maddie. I'm blaming you
Don't
right
blame
now. I'm
me.
just
Like,
blaming you
I
now.
feel like I put that in the universe and the universe said, "Ha, joke's on you." Um, but no, I think the way if Sabrina wants to be named MVP, which she said isn't one of her like personal goals, I think if she was named MVP, it would be obviously a byproduct of her helping the Liberty win a championship or putting the team in the best position to win a championship. I think the biggest thing is that to clear the gap between her and Fee and even AT, like throw Alyssa Thomas in there, she's got to go on a tear for the final, however many games are left this season. And so, yeah, I think it kind of hurts when you have back-to-back games where, she's really struggled to get into her shooting groove. But I'm not worried about her like big picture individually and for this Liberty. I don't think that, her season's gonna be made or broken by the fact that if she's named MVP. But I do think that, if she really if that was something that she really wanted, or is something that like we can continue to talk about. Like she's got to play a lot better than how she played today.
Yeah, and it's not just the shooting with her; it's also the turnovers. Very sloppy with the ball today.
Yeah.
She's got to be better at that too. Now, Stewie spoke to the media today. She revealed her target date to return from injury. How does her timeline impact the Liberty's outlook for the final stretch of the regular season and playoff seeding? I know you had talked to me about this last week on Liberty Lately, saying the target was going to be the end of August, possibly early September. She spoke about that today. So, how does that impact the team going forward?
Yeah, she also shared optimism that she'll be back at late August, later this month. She said it was a non-negotiable quote. That's a quote from her that she wanted to be back before her birthday, which is, I believe, August 27th, if I remember correctly. Um, and so I, think that she's trending in the right way. She's, not limited in terms of like being able to move or shoot or anything like that. She's doing individual workouts in the time being. It's just more so she can't play like 5-on-5, or her workload is being managed, is probably the best way of saying it. There's no restrictions on her, but her workload is being managed to help heal that bone bruise. Because all you can really do when you have a bone bruise is just kind of let time heal it. And just let it rest. And so that's kind of what the Liberty are doing. She does change the way that the Liberty can see things, right? Like you do want to get a few games with Breanna, Emma, JJ, the whole group back together, because when this team was at full strength, they looked unbeatable. Now, granted, we haven't seen that since the start of the season. So, are they going to be able to pick up where they left off, especially knowing that you have a new piece with Emma Miesemann coming in? Obviously, she makes this team a lot better. But how is that all going to look? And, Breanna said today she does have familiarity with Emma, so she's not too concerned about the fit. But there's just a lot of questions with this team, and we're really not going to get all the answers until everyone is healthy, which, we haven't seen very often this season.
We have not. Hoping to see it again, but we have not seen it too often this season. Okay, Maddie, last thing for me. You are very busy. You're back on the road again this week. Team goes to LA to battle the Sparks, then to Vegas to face the Aces before a trip to Minneapolis to see the Lynx again. So, what are you keeping your eye on with the Liberty this week?
I think the biggest thing I want to see is the way that they respond. Turnovers, lack of effort, urgency, all that was some things that were talked about in this at post game today. Emma Miesemann actually, she's been a person that hasn't watched a lot of Liberty basketball this season, and she's watched the last week or so, and she said that the biggest takeaway she had was just they need to get back to fundamentals of basketball. Some of those turnovers were just like fundamental errors, is what she said. And so I think, having her perspective and her saying that, it's all about the little things, it's the details, it's the execution, it's being disciplined, it's staying within plays, not like kind of letting yourself maybe get out of focus. Or I think sometimes what we've seen with the Liberty is they sometimes like feel sorry for themselves. Like they could potentially stop the bleeding, but they instead let it snowball. And so I think that's the biggest thing I want to see, in LA and Las Vegas. I mean, what a tough back to back, knowing that they've played so many games in such a short amount of time already, and then you have a back to back on the road. That'll be definitely really hard, but I think that effort and paying attention to the game plan and execution, those are all the things that you can control. And yeah, you're going to be tired, you're going to be fatigued, but you kind of just have to fight through it at this point of the season.
It is that time to fight through it in the season. We will see if the Liberty can bounce back this week. They've got 3 games on the road, out west, then in Minneapolis. So a busy week for our women's sports reporter, Madeline Kenny. Maddie, safe travels. I will see you later this week when we record Liberty Lately. And hopefully the Liberty gets some more wins and they bounce back. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.